Evening all. Right, this one is vehicles again, so don't hate me too much, but I wanted to show you, I think, certainly what you need to do when confronting other vehicles. So here we go. We joined the match and we had quite a few tanks. I think in fact we had 6 tanks against us. So I was in my dropship and I got out my dropship and I got in this. Long story, but so this is pretty much the story behind this, is how we dealt with that, and then also, you know, using all the vehicles really kind of gain benefit from it. So pretty much I'm in my bitch hunter fit. This is actually what it's called. It's a bitch hunter fit. It's when somebody comes in with a seeker with like all damage mods, or I don't know, a particularly, you know, okay tank rather. This tank will kill any tank, and I stand by that. I've not lost this tank in a competitive fight other than lag and my turret not working, killing me. So it's a good fit. It's just simple. It's 3 hardened, it's triple hardened. I know some people would have an issue with that, but I only use it to counter your tank. So if you bring in a tank at a redline railgunner, or I don't know, something like that, then I'm going to use this tank to combat you. And it works rather well, because in essence, to kill this, you don't stand a chance pretty much, unless you catch me with my hardeners off, and that's probably its only weakness. So anyway, I digress. The purpose of really today's video is to talk, as I say, around the ability to kind of counter people who spam tanks. Now, what Del Boy and I are doing here is what anybody could do, which is just a very solid tag team. So always think of it as like, quote, tag team. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of how we work. So Del and I are on comms. We are very aware where each other is, and we're very careful about how we engage. Because, for example, when you come up to targets like this, I mean, look at that. There's a lot of tanks around me there. There's at least 3 tanks there. So I'm now running. For my life. But what happens is we lead them actually into a trap where Del is, and Del's waiting for them and then kills them. So it's a lovely kind of mixture of you know, kind of tactics, if you like. The tag team does work well. Seeing a tank called in, then getting him to chase you into a waiting trap, I think is phenomenally important. Plus, sometimes this is another one thing we do, is when we know that they are constantly tanking, as in they keep bringing tanks in, sometimes the only thing you can do to stop them doing that is to rush their red line and then sit on their red line with a railgun tank. So here we go. So this was a great example of where somebody was trying to, you know, chase Del. Del chased them to me. He then turns around and we kick the shit out of him. So that's it. Simple, I know, but there we go. Now I actually did recall my tank because I thought they'd stopped shooting them. So I decided, okay, I'll run and gun. And then only to my horror, as I'm driving my LAV back, I realised actually they've called in another tank. So yeah, not too impressed with that. To be honest, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not bitch slapping people here. I'm just saying that sometimes, you know, the only way you'll win in this game against immortals, for God's sake, is by breaking them. That's the same in Eve. In Eve, they're all immortals. They could just keep coming and coming, and they'll either run out of ISK, or more importantly, they'll run out of effort. Effort as a unit of measure is, I guess, newtons, is it? And I'm joking, but literally until they run out of quote effort, they will just keep coming at you. So I decided to, you know, pay a visit to our you know, friendly tanker here and blow the shit out of him with a bomb truck. And the amusing part of this, he's actually part of our corps, so I did feel a bit bad doing this, but you know, oh well, what can you do? But there he is, and boom. Oh, I love bomb trucking. I'm still glad it works. So there we go. So we've gone planes, we've gone LAVs, or rather we've gone tanks, and now it's time for the dropship. So I like to think of this as my planes, trains, automobiles day. I was in one match, I was in literally every vehicle, which I thought was quite good. And again, a lot of what I'm trying to do at the moment, for example, is when I love dropshipping. I really do. I actually look forward to the hum of the dropship. But what's annoying is when you get into a match and you start dropshipping and then somebody redline railguns you, because immediately you know that you're just going to be plinked away at for the whole match. So part of me was like, this is an emerging tactic I'm doing now, which is actually paying dividends, which is I spawn in the dropship, I do some dropshippy stuff. If I get shot at least once, then I fly back, recall my dropship, bring in a tank, hunt the tank down, make the tank stop coming in. So I just keep going at him, literally flying at him. and and eventually then they stop coming back in, and I get back in my dropship. Now it's a kind of ever decreasing circle, I'm afraid, because eventually they just come back with a tank to kill my dropship. So it is rock paper scissors, I'm afraid. But as you can see already, I'm being redline railgunned again. But at this point, the match was kind of I couldn't be bothered to do it again. But it certainly becomes part of the fortunate nature of this game. I think that it is too easy just to go and rock paper scissors someone. So there's a dropship, let's get a red line railgun tank. Okay, they're dead. Now let's recall that tank. Let's go and do this and that. Okay, right. There's another thing in. Let's go and call that in. There's nothing wrong with that, but it does give you that kind of annoyance that pretty much veteran players, masters of the game, if you remember my saying, will just react. So if you bring in a load of heavies, they'll bring in a scout suit with remote explosives. If you bring in a load of prototype assault railgunners, you'll probably snipe. You know what I mean? That's kind of what you'll do. And I think, again, there's nothing wrong with this. I'm not moaning. I'm just, I think it's one of these things that if I wanted to dropship, which most maps I generally would be quite happy doing, the reality is that you can't. You have to kind of react to the battlefield, which again is realistic. In no way am I actually saying this is a bad thing. It's just lovely when you have that 1 or 2 matches that you get maybe once a day, which where you can fly your dropship, nobody kind of bothers you. Yes, you get AV'd from the ground, but that's fun. That's a challenge. Forge guns, swarmers, love it. But it's the redline railgun tanks that kind of bother me. And when they literally when one comes into the match, the whole play style is completely destroyed. You can't really run a dropship with one seeker damage assisted tank, literally, because it could one-shot you. Quite honestly, it easily could one-shot you. Like right now, if my hardener's off and I get shot, I'm in trouble. So this is kind of the issue that I guess I have with it, is that and Judge's video, again, to harp on about it, really did show this, that the reality is that one style of play, one player can deny a huge amount of I guess fun to a whole group of players. And there's nothing, yes, you can get in your own tank and go deal with them, but what can you do? But anyway, so there we go. I mean, that was an interesting one for me, because again, I love to show the spectrum of what you can do with various things. So LAVs, tanks, and obviously dropships. I love that kind of 3 units of vehicles and what they can do within the game. And hopefully you saw that. Again, in terms of the most effective, certainly tanks are, but I think not really all the time. Sometimes you need that mixture across the board. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. Not really a tactic one, I guess, but I guess it was good to show you. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.